Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Off the Radio Show, show number 700 and a lot.
Woo!
Okay, and I'm here tonight with my good friend, Michael Allen, who 20 years ago told me, as we were driving down in his old green shitty truck, down to somewhere south, we can't mention the name where we surfed, okay?
Secret
it has a
spot.
secret name, Infections we called it. It was called Infections, it was this private surf spot. Anyway, back then, he told me he had a screenplay for a movie he was going to make, and I'm like,
what year is that?
what year was that?
This is 20 years ago.
20 years ago, right? 20 years ago. And I'm like, I go, yeah, right. You're going to make it. Yeah. Everyone in Santa Cruz is a screenplay and making a movie. But you know what? He did it. And 20 years of hard work and labor for your whole family and friends, okay, and make this movie, to make this movie come to fruition. Well, tonight we're going to talk about it. We're going to show the trailer right now. And it'll be coming out. The movie will be coming out when? Sometime this fall?
We're aiming for fall of this year.
And this is based around surf lifestyle. Is there any surf involved in this?
It's based off of this book that I wrote right out of grad school. Getting my master's degree in philosophy, wrote this book. And it's a true story. And so the screenplay is based off of this, directly from the book. And then we adapted the movie, to that.
Boom. Without further ado, we're going to play the trailer.
So we're jumping on the shop laptop right here, and this is the trailer ready to queue up. Hang on a second. This is very technical stuff going on here.
Michael's killing me, right? He's going to kill me tonight. Neil, you can't find your tripod. You can't.
The truth is out there. I found it. And in a place I never would have expected. Setting out on my journey, Steinbeck's quote from The Grapes of Wrath stuck in my head. 66 is the mother road, the road of flight. Damn it! What am I doing here? Somehow there must be truth on this road that will be revealed without my grasping for it.
This is a surprise. What are you doing?
Looking for Lance, actually. What is going on?
You're not supposed to be here, Dane. Lance is sick.
Lance? Jeez, man, I thought you'd be happy to see me. You don't have any clue what it took for me to get out here.
I'm dying, Dave.
I don't understand.
Listen, man, when you leave here, it's the last time you're gonna see me.
What is it?
It's the Dao De Jing. Blind man gave it to me. I know, right? To me, the Dao is about being in the flow, surrendering to your true nature. I'm not afraid to die. Not anymore, not thanks to you. You gave me that gift. The Dao is impossible to define. It's liquid and ever-changing like the ocean. It's unfathomably powerful. To see the unseen. To hear God in the silence. Inspiration's like water, brother. It's always flowing. Just gotta learn to be the water.
Very cool.
Intriguing. You wrote this book. Let's go back to it. This is how this all came about, right? It's
Right.
from the book.
And the book is a true story. Do you want to give us a little synopsis of the story?
Goodness, yeah. This was when a best friend of mine, who was like an older brother to me, died. And I was putting his ashes out into the water, and I was having to ask myself, what is it that makes us who we are? That kind of the epistemological question. So that gave rise to writing this book. And then because I wrote it from a first-person narrative and wrote with such just a lot of vivid imagery, I just thought this would be something sensational to share with the world on the big screen. And so then I started thinking, okay, I gotta start working on a screenplay. And that was the beginning of the movie venture. So many years ago, with Neil and I, then I was saying, hey, I'm working on this script now, and and as the story goes, and a lot of people just kind of give up. But this was something that was such a powerful incident that happened that it just kept me going for these 20 years to make sure that this got done and it got done right.
So it's almost, in a way, a tribute of sorts.
It's very much a tribute, yeah. But it's also to educate and enlighten, and as a movie to entertain. So it's also based off of all these real events. So there's so much that was put into it. Years and years that we went through, and a lot of these vicissitudes of going through the trial and error and learning, failing and learning from that, learning from our mistakes and becoming better from it, becoming better filmmakers. And then finally, at this time, it just seems like there's a right time for things to happen. And this year of just filming, this last October, November, filming principal photography, and then all that's going on in the country and political times, and then with the world climate, it's like this was meant to happen now. It was like just a perfect time for it.
So Lance, right?
Yeah, Lance is Lance and Dane characters, right?
Family involved? Are they're aware of this project?
Oh yeah, everyone is aware of the project.
Your friend who passed away's family. They're well aware of what you're doing.
Yes.
With the four friends, including you, there was four of you, right? Were close, or was just?
Well, it's, when you go into and writing a screenplay, I think for the most part, especially for independent film, you have to base off of really, you're basing it off of real events, but also from real people.
Yeah.
So people I grew up with became characters in the film, because the book doesn't go into a lot of character development. It's more this first-person narrative of this journey, of this real journey. I take people through this journey, and so developing the characters came into being with writing the screenplay. And the screenplay then we still based off the real people. So.
How many times did you cry making this movie?
Oh yeah, it was really a difficult thing to go back and have to relive that moment again. When you're being next to my friend's bedside and his death, and then having to go back and just relive that, time and time again. There were scenes that we were filming that I told our director of photography, I said, I can't even be in the room for those scenes. I got to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's just too heavy for me.
Yeah.
It was too much. But the actors were just, oh my God, they were just sensational.
Right. Did you, writing a screenplay, did you know how to write a screenplay, or did you just Google it, how to write a screenplay? How did you?
How to go about that?
How did you go about that?
I had all these years of writing from my philosophy background, because all we did was just write philosophy papers, and I lectured on deep level philosophical content. But I had no background in screenwriting. But then I happened to have a brother-in-law who graduated film from San Francisco State, Alex Carrig, and I came to him and said, "Hey, you want to work with me on a script?" And based off the book, he already knew the book, of course, my brother-in-law. So he said, "Yeah, let's do it." So we just kind of started in, and then I said, "Hey, let's get a camera out."
Yeah.
And I knew some locations around Monterey Bay that I wanted to just maybe film at already. I just kind of had, I already knew right from the book, and I had some ideas in my head already for the script and where we wanted to film. So we dove into that, and again, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And so Alex graduated film, so we started working together on the script, and then even that is, even if you have a script writing background from school, it's still, once you get in and do a one for a feature film, it's crazy. The stuff that you get into, and all the character development that has to go into it, and all the details, and you're always thinking, I know, and as we wrote so visually, you're having to think as you're writing, you're thinking big screen stuff.
Yeah.
What's it going to look like? But then I'm also thinking practically as an independent filmmaker, where are we going to film? How much is this going to cost? How much the permit's going to be? Or can we get free places to shoot at? And so you end up meeting these really great people who love the story, or find something that's really heartwarming about it, or they relate to it because something happened to one of their loved ones, and hey, you can film here. We love your story.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of in the independent filmmaking world.
Obviously, making a movie takes a lot of money. How did you, was there a GoFundMe? I don't think it was GoFundMe 20 years ago, but how did you raise the money and the capital to make the movie?
For this version?
Yeah. Was the episode 1 was the one, and there's episode 2? Because you shut it down, right?
Yeah, because in 2013 we went in to film this, and we learned so much from it because it was a nightmare. We learned a lot from it, but that's what I wanted to teach our audience too. Is like, you know, you go in and nothing's going to be perfect first time through, and you have to go in and learn from your mistakes, and which we did. So after all that happened, I said, okay, we're gonna.
That was the first attempt.
We're gonna start fresh.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I said, we're gonna cut out half the cast in our script. We're gonna just bring it down to like a European independent filmmaking, and just a really small cast where every single person in the cast matters, and everyone has a specific part. And then you write it so that every single word has to matter. And if there's something significant that you write, it has to mean something, and it's got to be some payoff further out, you know, in the movie too. You can't just write something that's crazy good and then, but it's got to be something, some philosophical
tie into
payoff.
something.
Yeah, and every single thing has to tie in.
Right.
You know, it has to be a reason and purpose for everything in the script. So, so for this one, I didn't want to have to deal with all this trying to find funding and all this stuff. It just takes so long, and you're trying to find all this money. And there's so many different ways of going about it. But then for this particular one, then I got a line of credit from a bank. Had a great, you know, FICO score. Happened to, because I'm also a tech writer in Silicon Valley, and it worked out. And I said, I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to finance it myself and put the money in. And like Francis Ford Coppola put his own house up too, to make Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
And look what happened there.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there? I mean, I would hope there's a payoff from this, right? There's going to be distribution, hopefully, and
Oh yeah.
so is there? Investment wise, you have to be pretty excited of the future.
Oh yeah, super excited. Yeah, and I'm not concerned. I have no worries about it because what we shot, and even you can see from the trailer. I mean, it looks like we spent 20 to 50 million on the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really stunning, and we're shooting with cameras that are on those larger budget films.
I saw when we showed the trailer, there was some people watching that shot up like emotional emojis, which I think would be an ideal reaction, right? Yeah. So I think you immediately struck a chord with some of the viewers of creating that.
So episode 1, which is you shot episode 1. I'm going to call it episode 1. It came to an end. What did you do? What did you learn from that? And what changes did you make to kickstart it again for episode 2?
Yeah, that was where I finally just said, okay, we're gonna, like, on your computer and you hit you power off and power back on.
Yeah.
I said, it's time to do a reset, and let's rethink this. And that's when I just said, we got to make this really tight, and we're going to use a really tight crew and a small cast and really a limited amount of locations. And but it's interesting, when you're working with another screenwriter and they have the big ideas, and I'm always thinking budget at the same time too, and you have to kind of like start restricting things. And then my brother-in-law, he had a great film background, but also he didn't grow up surfing, so I took care of all the water. I had to kind of say, here's what's involved with shooting water photography. And so in this film, I also am doing the water photography. I'm part of the waterproof of the film as well. But yeah, there's just so much to go through and think through.
So you should start all over again.
Yeah, it was a brand new start.
Julie, your wife, ready to kill you? Like, oh my god.
No,
Did you think when you ended episode 1? Did you think that was it? It's going to now be on the shelf. I'm moving on with my life, or did you know you were going to start it back up again?
Yeah, I wasn't going to quit.
Right.
And the people around us didn't want to quit either.
Right. So the main character was Dane, right?
Yeah.
Who passed away.
No, Dane is based off of me.
Okay, and then
And Lance is the one who passed
right,
away.
and he's from AIDS.
Yes.
This is back then when AIDS was.
Yeah, so this is a period piece shot in 1989, period piece. Yeah, when AIDS was a death sentence.
Right.
Yeah, and there's still AIDS epidemic, and it's just not talked about as much or even known so much about.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Sometimes I feel personally that's because they can keep many from dying, but never being uninfected. And it's sort of lost its luster in the media because of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think partly that might be political reasons, too. But to find out that there's still AIDS cases here and in San Francisco and in Santa Cruz County, but you don't really hear about it unless you're talking to people who actually are working with these patients.
Did you have a phone a friend during this whole thing? Because it seems like you were you spearheaded this project.
Yes.
And this is your first time venturing into this level of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Did you ever who do you call for help?
You surround yourself with people who are knowledgeable, and also people that will want to work with a smaller budget, but who just really are passionate about the project, because that's what it is. It's a passion project.
Well, the actors, all the actors were on board with that.
Yeah, and that was incredible. But they fell in love with the project.
Yeah.
When we got our casting director out of in northern New Mexico, Jennifer Schwallenberg, she said, "Okay, we're gonna cast a lot of it out of New Mexico. We're gonna get the Dean and Lance characters are going to be coming out of L.A. So we got Casey Dean, Jason Bernardo, and I said, yeah, they got to be able to surf. They got to be really active guys who are can handle kind of scenes that are all over the place, because we're shooting in the desert, we're shooting in the ocean, we're all over the place, and those guys were phenomenal. And then we got Molly Reed and Humberto out there in New Mexico, and it was just a fantastic. Again, it's a small cast.
Are you happy with it? Are you happy with it?
It was just above and beyond what I could ever thought it could be. I always hope for something. You want to achieve greatness, and you set your aim. You aim high, right?
How many times did you go back and rework? Even though you had it on a budget and you had to keep going forward, how many times did you have to go back and fix something? You come up with a better idea, or you do something better? Or could you just
it's a constantly rewriting of the script, like all the way up to the point of until you're ready to shoot.
Right.
And then when we're filming, we're getting ready to film. Every day was some problem solving. It wasn't major stuff, but you're always figuring out. You're finding solutions. And independent filmmakers, I think, it promotes that ability to problem solve, which is you need for life.
Yeah.
That's a life skill anyway.
Yeah.
But we.
I remember. Can I say what I remember? I remember him. We used to surf, and then we wouldn't see each other for a while, and we'd surf again, and then we wouldn't see each other for a while, and then one day he calls me up. He goes, "Neil," I was writing for the Sentinel, and back then it was a big buzz about a movie being made in Santa Cruz, a surf movie, right? He goes, "Neil, you're the only guy I trust. You're coming down. You're going to be. I want you to do the interview." To what? I'm making the movie. I'm like, you still are? Holy shit, you are making that movie. I was still flabbergasted. So I get in my car, go down to the house in Moss Landing. Remember the house in Moss Landing? Remember that?
We're out filming out there.
In the house, remember? And there was all these people. I'm like, wow. Hey, and then here comes Lou Diamond Phillips, remember? Lou Diamond Phillips was...
He was directing at the time.
He was directing?
Yeah.
He's the most eloquently spoken or speaking person I've ever met in my life.
Not really.
He was very eloquent, but
is this are we changing careers right now?
But
that was part one in 2013 that we hit the reset on.
Yeah, was it 2013?
Yeah.
Then all those people, there was a lot of people there. You flushed them all out.
There was way too many people.
Way too many. There was
too much money going out. Too many people.
Yeah.
Too much cast written into the script.
So it's all learning process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a huge learning process.
Yeah.
But we became better filmmakers, and for me producing and co-screenwriting and doing the water photography. But this time it was like, okay, I'm gonna pull this thing in really, really tight. And then we hooked up with
2013.
Yeah, it was 2013.
And now we're 2023.
10-year project.
So he's like.
So I guess it's not a new career change.
What, you called me like 6 months ago to do this?
Yeah, I just said, hey, we're going to go out and shoot principal photography.
Yeah. I'm like, I can't believe he did it.
How stressful? How stressful?
Thank you.
Is it a lot of stress producing a self-produced project like this?
Yeah, but you learn to be because it's based off Tao surfing, but now it's the long road to Tao, and it's not a surf movie, but there's Taoism philosophy woven in throughout the entire film, as you saw from the teaser trailer to the Jason Bernardo's talking about. He's imparting this wisdom. So for me, we also learned, even though I have all this background in philosophy and all my college degrees, but you learn to just start flowing with things better. And you learn that if it's an uphill battle and you're fighting against this process, that something's wrong, and you've got to just kind of pull back, relax, and flow around and find something else, another way, a new solution to it, because you can't keep hitting up yourself against a wall. It's just not going to work.
Right.
So we learn to flow with things better, and so that also, in that process, it eases the stress. You're no longer as stressful because you're no longer like banging your head against the wall. You're figuring out better ways to do things and realizing like, oh yeah, we can do this, and we can, if we can't do it that way, hey, here's another way. And usually the new way that you find out is better than the first way you were trying to think about.
Right.
You're always coming up with kind of better techniques, better solutions.
Because you have the knowledge.
Yeah, and things that are more cost effective,
Right.
and you surround yourself with just great people. Yeah.
So, but AIDS being the epidemic, there's going to be a lot of people watch this movie, like your son's age. They don't even know what they haven't heard of AIDS.
And-
Does this give an explanation of the explanation of this epidemic?
Well, what's wonderful about the film is that precisely like in the kids in the teens and in their 20s have no idea what that was like.
Right.
So our film is to bring that to light and to educate them. To say like, here's what was going on at the time with this epidemic, the politics that was going on, the hate, the fear, and also all the deaths that were going on, and then trying to figure out what was happening at that time.
Right.
And it's really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But I just thought with this film would be so good to be able to educate this age group.
And when people get out of their movie seats and leave the theater, what do you want them to be feeling?
I want them to just personally connect and get something wonderful about it, so that they can go to the coffee house and say, hey, we need to talk about this film.
Right.
What was that we just saw?
Yeah.
And it invites philosophical conversation.
Yeah.
And they, hopefully it opens up their minds and their way of thinking.
Yeah.
It brings people to think about things they never thought about before, too, because that's what this film is really about, too, opening people's minds, because a lot of people kind of go through life with this, but it's like, hey, let's look at the world this way, and let's get more connected to the things that we need to be connected to. It's so important, and
Right.
I mean the timing is perfect right now for this.
So the movie's going to come out sometime in the fall.
In the fall,
Where's
yeah.
it going to be shown in Santa Cruz? Because we're here. We want to see the movie.
Yeah, well, that's to be determined.
Well, I'm thinking the boardroom myself.
Hey,
but-
why not? Sure. We'll do a private showing for family and friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll figure out the theater here, and then obviously also we got to do one in Las Cruces at the big theaters.
Yeah.
Over there too, because we
In
filmed
New
there.
Mexico?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and filming there was beautiful too. But bringing the desert and the ocean together is
Yeah.
interesting as well, right? You have this vast landscape of infinite horizon with the ocean, and you have the same thing out in the desert,
Right.
and you can see the beautiful shots we got out there.
Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful, heartfelt story, but it's going to bring people together and think about things like I said that they never
So
thought about
what's
before.
your job now? To go out and try and sell it to film festivals?
No.
Or no?
Finishing the theatrical release,
Yeah.
and just make sure that is absolutely perfect, and then that goes through all the post production. So it's sound design, and then the music composing, color correction, and once all the post is done, and then we got a finished film, then we're able to show it in the theaters, and then absolutely on film festivals. And at film festivals, I know there's going to be a lot of people there. They're going to want to distribute the film. So
Yeah.
so we'll work with distributors and figure out who we want to work with and
Yeah.
where we want to go. But I see this film as being not just in the United States, but going international.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's really a global
and so
film.
we're talking like Sundance type situations, or
Yeah.
I think it's very promising that it could be at Sundance.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of selling as well. I mean, you have to promote and sell and rub elbows at these events. Are you just submit
So-
and see what happens?
So I'm not a salesman, and so it's easier to make something that's so stunning that it sells itself.
Yeah.
You know, like here's the book and here's the script, and you know, take a look at that. Like I didn't have to tell the actors, hey, can you come on board and be with this film? They read the script and they were reading their parts on the reel and were like, my God, they fell in love with it already. I don't have to go out and convince people and sell people on it. So I think it's the same thing's going to happen once people see this out in the theater. They're just going to just be like, oh my God.
One of my best friends always says, quality sells itself.
Yeah, it's exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's and congrats to have that philosophy and attitude, because you present it that way as well as the quality of the film and production. My question is, you're self-financed.
Yeah,
This was not a cheap project.
right.
Lay in bed at night, eyes open a few nights during this ordeal.
Maybe one or two, but but then being there and watching the filming and then seeing what we were producing every day, and you know, watching the rough cuts, and as we're putting those things together and seeing the dailies, I'm like, oh my God, we've got some incredible footage here. And then the acting was just off the charts phenomenal, as you can tell from the trailer.
So it's 4 friends.
No.
Four of you, right? Was it 4 friends, or just
It was, the story is really about Dane and Lance.
Dan and Lance? Okay.
Yeah, it's really about it. The whole story is focused on them.
Yeah.
But then as they get out to New Mexico, then you see it, they're at the house.
Yeah.
And then stuff happens there.
Yeah.
That because Dane's, you have to have the inciting incident. You know, Dane's in his ordinary world. He's safe. Nothing's happened to him yet to kind of get him out of that and get him into thinking and getting into a deeper level of thinking.
Right.
But he's a struggling writer at the beginning. And so you see his character arc throughout the entire film. But he runs into characters throughout the film that are interesting, throughout in the desert and places that impart wisdom to him in their own way. You know, Norman Patrick Brown's in the film too. He's a Navajo actor, came down from Albuquerque. He was in Thin Red Line with Sean Penn, and you know, just phenomenal talent. But again, I just was amazed at who we had and who we were surrounded by. We let him just kind of speak his own philosophy from the Navajo culture, but matching what we had written in the script. And that was another thing we learned. Like, you know, Alex and I were talking about before going out and filming. We thought, you know, if the actors are so good, and that let's give them some room. Let's give them a little latitude. So, you know, we don't want to lock them in just to read what we had written, because I felt that was going to be, it might not be good for us, because if we allowed them the latitude to kind of just get into a conversation or to get into an argument or whatever's going on at that time, let it happen and film it. And then it just elevated the stuff that we had written, it just elevated it even further.
Wow.
It was really amazing to see.
Yeah.
I mean, the actors became the characters. They were no longer acting. I didn't see the actors anymore. I saw these are the real people that we'd written about.
Wow.
It was stunning.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, I've known you for over 20 years, and very proud of you.
Thank you.
And that ride in the truck, I'm like, he's bullshitting me here. Right? You know, right?
I'm impressed that I don't know your age, I won't ask it, but I feel like you got about 20% of your life involved in this, or 15% or something, whatever it is. There's a lot that you've invested in this project.
Yeah.
And I congratulate you for that alone. Not knowing the future, but knowing that you've dedicated so much of your past to this project is something to congratulate. Because people have so many great ideas and passion and can't follow through. And congrats to that.
Yeah, I think you have to first have the dream and then have the vision. And some people don't even have the dream and the vision. But then if you have the dream and the vision, then you have to have the follow through and say, I want to do something with this.
Yeah.
But how long do you want to stick with something?
Yeah.
But I knew this was something that was going to turn out phenomenal. And I just felt like I had a life, a dedication of my life to make sure that this film got made and got made properly. And we did it.
He's the type of guy. He's the type of guy I know that would crawl on his hands and knees to finish this movie. It was not gonna not get done.
Did you ever tell your friend Lance that you were going to do something like this? Was there ever was it after you came up with this?
No, after it was putting his ashes into the
That was the day.
into the water was when I realized that that I wanted to write the book.
Was that a paddle out you had, or
Yeah.
just you did it yourself as a paddler?
I went up by myself, and the family was on the beach.
Where was this at? Where did you let his ashes go?
Secret spot.
Yeah, secret place.
Secret spot.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, a place where you're not supposed to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that type. It doesn't matter.
No.
Is this family really
That's all
excited about
compulsion.
this?
Yeah, I think they're pretty blown away that I stuck with it this long, and dedicated kind of my life to Rick, my buddy, after he died. But you're asking a question about like life and life changing, and it definitely was life changing, not only for me but for our whole family. It changed our lives, obviously, and everyone. But then it was interesting because all these people that we were in touch with and that we had been working on the film with for so many years, it also has changed their life too. And even the actors now, I talk to the actors all the time, and like Casey Dean and Jason Bernardo and Humberto Castro and Molly Dean, they're all like, this already changed their lives.
Right.
And it changed their lives because like they became this character.
They bought into it.
It was so real for them, and it was already life changing while we were filming, which is fun. That's a phenomenal thing in itself.
Creating that energy is what creates success. Like when there's so much passion involved by everybody.
Yeah.
That's you can't. That's the kind of stuff you just can't make up.
And the passion was also came in with all the film students because we shot this as I said I'm going to shoot non-union film, and thanks to Alex, he found a professor and director of photography, Sherwin Lau, at New Mexico State University, and he said, we can bring in students, make a class for them. They've got credits in the film. They'll get credits for towards graduation.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to work on a full-length feature film that they can use towards getting jobs after school, and then we get them for free. Wow. And they came in with so much passion, and it was this age group of young college kids, and they were just phenomenal. And so they're all on the IMDb page now. They have their own IMDb page. We're up live there, and all of our cast and crew are up on the page. Long Road to Dow. You guys can look it up.
Those kids will all be at the premiere in New Mexico.
And so they're all going to be there. Yeah, I mean it just was so great working with each of them. The talent that they brought and the passion that they brought. But like you say, when you say a passion project, if you bring everyone in that has that energy, it's a phenomenal experience.
You can't go wrong with that kind of
you can't go
energy.
wrong. I mean, it's like everyone's there to assure success all the way through the entire project.
Are you going to do it again?
I am already talking about starting the second one for next year.
Are you really?
Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like I want to keep going. I want to do another one already because it was such a great experience. It's really hard work, but there's something.
I'm available.
And
Well, it's almost like an adrenaline rush. You're out there filming, and then by the time you're done filming, you come back and you're like, I feel like I want to get back out and keep filming again.
Yeah.
I don't want to stop.
Yeah.
What's
There's
the most
something about it.
interesting guy in the world, or what beer commercial was
Oh
that
yeah,
guy in? Aren't you that guy?
beer commercial.
You could be that guy.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you so much.
Michael,
Thanks, Neil.
just to go back, so I know you guys have been friends for a long time. We're looking forward to this fall.
Yes.
Will there be a Northern California premiere?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
And
We'll figure out where.
okay, and we should promote that. We'd like to have you back on the show when this project is becoming like ready to roll out,
Okay.
and be able to share
about
that
it
with
then.
everybody and let them know.
All right.
Is this book still available?
Yeah.
Amazon? You could
Amazon,
right
and
now?
you can go to dalsurfing.com page and my webpage, and you can find out more about it too. But yeah, Amazon has it, and
Your wife still likes you after all this?
yeah, imagine that.
She's okay with all this?
She loves the experience. I mean,
She enjoyed as much as you did.
yeah, because I brought the whole family in. I had my son out there shooting, Dane shooting behind the scenes, cinematography, and right here.
Get him on film.
There he is, right there.
And and he's
cheap labor for the next film.
incredible filmmaker. So yeah. And then Julie's has been backing the project for this whole time, and you helped put in money into the project too. But it's just you have a passion project like this, and you get the family involved. You stick with it. You're just like, okay, we're not going to give up on it.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, it's a commitment, but it's also the incredible people. I mean, that's probably maybe the next episode we'll talk about all the different people that we met throughout these years. That's a whole story in itself.
Oh, right.
Too.
Well-
But just wonderful to be the cast and crew and all the people that we had for this filming this time around. Everyone was exceptional.
Well, I look forward to seeing it, and I do again want to congratulate you for staying true to yourself and finishing the project, and
Thank you.
and staying married during it. Congratulations.
Yeah, that doesn't always happen. You hear these stories. of,
You,
people that-
it's,
Hollywood
you know
lifestyle.
what? It is a gigantic commitment, and
Absolutely it was,
And
yeah.
it's going to be a great movie. I know already. So, and you can get the book there, folks, right there, this fall.
and more book sales will help with our post-production costs.
Yeah.
I love
Buy
it.
the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congrats, and looking forward to the future.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Neil. What we got going on coming up?
I got shows this week. I got tomorrow at Capitola, 4 to 6 p.m. Broken English,
Right on the beach.
right on the beach.
Broken English.
Sunday,
Village.
Dirty Cello is playing for me at Seascape Beach Resort from 2 to 4.
Pretty happening down there, huh?
Yeah, pretty happy down there. Once
All
again,
right.
thanks again to my dear friend Michael Allen.
Michael, thanks for coming by. Appreciate
Thank you.
it very much. We'll see everybody again next week on the Off Flip Radio Show. Thank you for tuning in. T Fox, thanks for having us on your Santa Cruz Waves Facebook page. Neil, thank you as always.
Thanks, buddy.
We will see everybody
Skinny.
soon. Good night.